Hey, what's up? Doug Cunnington here. This is going to be the session on taking a site from 10K a month to 32K a month in 100 days. And this is sort of a summary of a case study that I went through. This is part of Project Go White Hat. And I see we have a few people on. Thanks for joining live. Do appreciate it. And I see we have Lance on, we have Yath, we have Furhan, thanks, who is a moderator. So my moderators, hopefully you could help me keep an eye for trolls out there. Always interesting to have them on. So again, this is the session on 10K per month to 32K per month. Now this is a snapshot in time, right? So I'll give you some of the baseline information and then the few steps that we took to go through it. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about Rob Atkinson, who is my business partner for this specific project here. So again, this is part of Project Go White Hat, and we indeed move the income from 10K a month, which is really good, to 32K a month, which is, over 3 times better. And a couple things I want to mention. Number one, there is a free workshop tomorrow, sort of self-indulgent, and it's about how I started Niche Site Project, my internet marketing blog, and sort of the platform that we're doing now. And I see we have a few more people on, so really appreciate you joining in. We have Sanjavan, hopefully I pronounced it right, and Yuta. And Yuta asked the question already. So 10 to 32 means invest 10, or are you telling the range of income? The range of income. So again, I'll paint a little picture. Hopefully it'll be clear. A lot of times with the live streams, I'm a little inside baseball here. I'm sort of fleshing out these ideas a little bit. So I've mentioned these here and there, and some people want to go deeper on certain aspects. So I'm going to tell you about that. And this is in 3 main steps that we did. So basically, the site was making about 10K a month for several months, right? So I don't remember off the top of my head, but for a few months, it was making 10K a month, and that was great. Then I joined the team, and Rob and I were working on it, and I ended up, or we both ended up doing some work. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today was around the work that I was doing, and I'll explain that. So the site was making 10K a month for several months, and then we made some changes in content and in the link building side, which if you see many of my videos, you realize the niche site model has like 2 main areas, and it's content and link building, right? So those are the 2 main factors that contribute to success or lack thereof. So we grew the site pretty quickly, and I'll tell you the progression. I should probably write it in the description, but basically it was 10K in September of, I think it was 2016 at this point, September of 2016, 10K. And then in October, it was 14K. So it moved up by 40%. And then in November, it was 19K. And then December, it was 32K. And everyone should notice that is taking advantage of the retail season. Hey, this is a good headline, 10K to 32K per month in 100 days. And it was pretty crazy. We actually, when we started proposing and brainstorming things that we could do, we didn't know like what could happen, right? We thought maybe we could get the site up to about 15 to 18K by December. Like we made predictions in August of 2016, and we thought, hey, maybe we could increase the revenue by 40 to 60%, which is a lot, right? I mean, 40 to 60% is, a lot. I mean, that's a crazy amount of growth in a small amount of time. So here's what we did. I'll get to the point. So we looked at some additional areas, but here are the 3 areas that really made the difference. So number one, we improved the content on just one post. A specific post was getting the majority of the traffic. And Farhan, thanks. Farhan says it's pretty incredible. It shocked us. We had no clue what what was going to happen. So we knew we had a lot of traffic on one post. It was an affiliate review post. It converted pretty well. For that page, I think we had something like 50% of the traffic that landed on the page would end up at Google, or Google would end up at Amazon. And the conversion rate at Amazon was about, I'm trying to remember, it was about 4% or so. It was on the low side, but that tells you that we're getting lots of people over to Amazon, maybe even ones that weren't well qualified. They weren't actually interested in buying, they were just browsing, right? So keep that in mind. So we had 50% of the traffic going to Amazon. We had about 4% converting. The amount of traffic was in the, I think, 1,500 per day range. And most of the traffic, again, was going to that one post. So we looked at that one post, and Rob initially created the site, and I joined in mid 2016. So I went in and audited the site, right? So I looked at a few posts, right? There were about 40, 45, something like that, and I reviewed a few of the posts, right? Most of the traffic was, 90% of the traffic was just going to a few posts. I checked those out. I identified one post where most of the traffic was going. Most of the sales were originating from this post. So I realized that, number one, the content was poorly written. Upon, talking to Rob, he knew that it was poorly written. And, funny thing, the person that wrote it didn't really know about the topic at all. It was kind of it's kind of funny. So that said, I realized the content was poorly written and the buying guide area wasn't that great. The length of the content was about 2,500 words. There was a table in there. It generally follows the perfect Amazon review format, which I, readily share. If you Google the perfect Amazon review and niche site project, you should be able to find my template. So it roughly followed that. And when I took a step back, I thought, hey, we need to improve the buying guide and just tighten up the copy. So if I remember right, Rob tightened up some of the copy for a few of the specific products. And then I use the RPM method, right? Or RPM, which is the research paper method. And there's a whole free training on that. So I use the research paper method to go research other websites and find out what they had. I went to the competitors' websites. I went to manufacturers' websites, several manufacturers' websites. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and I think I read a few other specifications, for, trying to mince my words here so I don't give away the niche. I looked at sort of professional standards within that niche that applied to that post and products. So the point is, I did a lot of research. I probably sat down and did 2.5 hours of, just taking notes, learning about the topic, understanding what the point was. And then I created an outline. Then I hired a writer to go ahead and, fill out the outline, write a narrative or whatever he wanted to do to approach that topic. He wrote about 40, I think it was about 4,000 or 5,000 words. So I'll just say 4,500 words for about $200. And then we published it, right? So we didn't remove the whole post. We just appended to it. So we added to the end, and that beefed it up from 2,500 words to about 7,500 or 8,000 words. Additionally, we added a few other products. And I see some questions coming in. I see Joan, and I'll come back to the questions. Tony's on as well. Appreciate you both on here. And John is on as well. So cool. Next, After, I guess the next point after the improving on the content and hiring someone, we then looked to add more content. So the goal with Project Go White Hat was primarily around selling the site. And we wanted to sell the site for over six figures, which we did. We later sold it for 235,000 in June of 2017. And basically, we knew, or we had the feeling, that if we wanted to sell a site for over six figures, we would need more than 40 posts. Now, we didn't think it was going to like boost income a ton, but just having a more well-rounded site, the value proposition is higher. Now, mind you, Rob and I knew people that sold sites for that amount, but we had not done that ourselves. So we were just speculating that, hey, we need to raise the value proposition on this. And one way to do it is to add more posts. Around that time, I was, I'd already tested the keyword golden ratio. If you're unfamiliar with the keyword golden ratio, I'll paste a link in the description. So if you're watching this not live, you're watching the replay, I should have more things in the description so you could refer to like the RPM, the KGR, all these buzzwords I'm throwing out. So the keyword golden ratio is basically a way to look at keyword supply and demand so that you could find keywords that are underserved on the internet. The benefit of that is you can usually publish content and rank without backlinks. So let me say that again so everyone heard it. Make sure everyone heard it. So usually you can find these keywords, post the content, and rank without backlinks. I suggest people get comfortable with backlinks, but backlinks do seem to be the bane of most people's existence in the internet marketing world. So the point is, if you can do link building, you're probably in good shape. But by posting keyword golden ratio content, we thought we could beef out the site. We thought we could make it, a higher value proposition if someone just looks at it, and potentially rank more affiliate content with no additional link building, because we were going to be busy doing some other stuff, which I'll talk about in point 3. And if people are just joining up, I see we're getting more and more folks on. This is my story on how I took a site making 10K per month to 32K per month in 100 days. Yes, it was during the retail season, but I'm telling you the 3 steps. And regardless, if you raise the revenue by like 320%, that's a lot, right? So thing is, we published about 60-ish new articles, if I remember right, give or take, right? So we published 60 new articles. I hired someone to do keyword golden ratio research for me. I trained them myself, right? So there's not many people out there doing that. I think it's another topic for another day, but I hired someone to find the 60 keywords for me. It probably cost a few bucks, probably $100 or so. And then I took those keywords and I had a content team already in place. So I just had them write those articles, right? It was a no-brainer, pretty straightforward. I pay $15 for 1,000 words. Each one of these posts was 1,000 words. Okay, so we're basically adding 60,000 words of content, and 60 and 15, and we spent I think under $1,000, including the content management. So I had a content manager who would edit the content, would format the content, and then draft it for us. All right. So that is how we handled step 2. And if you're just joining up, step 1 was improving the content on one post that was bringing in the majority of the traffic. Part 2 was adding more content in the form of keyword golden ratio content. And step 3 was adding links. So if you're unfamiliar with Project Go White Hat, I will probably do videos on it, number 1, to tell the story again. But point number 2 is I did a whole blog post series on niche site projects. So if you Google Project Go White Hat, if you go to niche site project, there's like, I don't know, it's like a small book's worth of the story. And I take you from the very beginning to the very end when we sold it. And basically, this site had gray hat backlinks, private blog network backlinks. And our theory and our interest in the project was to do outreach, replace those PBN, private blog network links, with guest post links that were obtained through white hat outreach. I was, and I guess I am, a specialist in outreach and that sort of white hat link building. I used to have a service. I got a lot of experience doing that. Realized I didn't want to run a service and I should, just do the work for myself. And that is one of the reasons why, I was able to partner with Rob. I had a skill set that he didn't have. And basically, we went out and we replaced about, I think it was like 45 private blog network links with about 45 guest posts. Now, in hindsight, like our rankings, like we did this in a very methodical way beyond the scope of what we're talking about. But basically, we added a bunch of backlinks and we staggered removing the private blog network links until later so that we would not impact the rankings, especially rolling into the retail season. So again, I'm just going to repeat that so everyone can, hopefully I'll say it better. So basically we were replacing these gray hat links with white hat links over a period of time. We staggered removing the private blog network links so as not to impact our rankings. It worked out fine. The rankings actually moved up because we were adding links at the beginning. And that is probably, one of the other contributing factors. Now, we were already ranking #1 for the terms that we were trying to rank for, but I'm pretty sure we started moving up for other long tail keywords that we weren't actually targeting or tracking. We weren't even tracking other keywords. So the point is we ended up adding more content to the post, which was already ranking #1. That attracted more long tail keywords and it was higher quality. People stayed on the page longer, and we believe other long tail keywords were bringing in a majority of the traffic. Now, the interesting thing is we published this, first, like step 1, improving the content on that big post. We took it from 2,500 words to about 8,000 words. And then we kept working. We kept moving forward. So in September, the site made 10K. In October, it made 14K. It improved by 40% in traffic and revenue within like 40 days, right? I don't remember the exact amount, but we probably published the content in like early September, and before the end of the month in October, the site, had moved up and started attracting more traffic. Again, I'll repeat the revenue stuff in a second. So it was like 19,000 in what did it go? It went 10 in September, October was 14, November was 19,000, and then December was 32,000. So it slowly ticked up and the revenue matched the traffic. So I don't remember the traffic exactly, but basically the traffic went up by 40% in October, the revenue went up by 40%. It increased, the traffic increased even more the following month in November, and the revenue went up too. So they tracked together and they were correlated, and you could see, both track the same line. All right, so I'm going to summarize my points again, and then I'll answer some questions. Quick reminder before I start summarizing. #1, I'm doing a free workshop tomorrow on starting an internet marketing blog. No pitch, just talking about it. Self-indulgent. I'm just going to talk about myself and what I did for about an hour. There's a link in the description if you want to sign up. You could check it out, and you just have to enter your email address there. So if you're interested, or if you've ever thought about starting an internet marketing blog, you should probably attend. So, and it's very much a, I'm just telling the story of it not being easy, right? So I know when I started, looked up to people and I thought, hey, they started a blog. I'm going to do that too. They're just sharing their story and what they did, but it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I think a lot of people assume that because it looks easy, it's probably not too hard. But anyway, that's tomorrow. Additionally, if you like these live streams, and I hope you do, I'm doing another live stream on Friday. That's a general Q&A. We just go back and forth, answer some questions. So be sure, I think if you go to my channel, like the main page of my channel, it should be listed. I encourage you to add a reminder on there so you don't miss out. Make sure notifications are turned on. Same time, same place. I usually try and publish or do something at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which is this time, this hour. Okay, so I'm going to do the summary, and then we'll answer questions. And thanks, folks, for asking questions. If you do have questions, feel free to add them in there. All right. So the first thing we did, and I'll retell the revenue just a bit. So the site was making about 10K a month for a few months. In September, where I'm tracking it from, so it's September 2016, it made about $10,000. In October 2016, it made about $14,000. In November, $19,000. In December, $32,000. I can't remember what January was. I think it was like 14,000, but I can't remember. So, I mean, the retail season gets insane, and we didn't know that it was going to grow that much. And we also didn't know how much it was going to drop, but it still made 5 figures in January. So the 3 things we did: number 1, we improved the content on a post using the research paper method, RPM. I'll paste a link once I finish up here. I'll paste a link in the description of this video so you can refer to some training and other information. Additionally, I'm going to do just a video straight up on the RPM. So it's not a workshop style, but just where I go through quick and show you the RPM method. The second thing we did was add keyword golden ratio content. And that was something I had already developed in the previous year and tested for, 12 or 18 months at least. And I knew that it was going to be a route to get more traffic and probably improve rankings just on the overall site. Third thing we did was add white hat backlinks, and coupled with, the fact that we were adding content, we just attracted more traffic. We were able to publish this content without doing link building. All right. So a couple questions. Okay. So Joan says, what was the average monthly traffic and average price per item? Okay. So the average monthly traffic, it went up, right? So at the start, it was, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 people per day. So that would end up being, what is that, like 45, 50,000 per month, something like that. On the conservative side. And as the traffic moved up, as the revenue moved up, the traffic went up too. So that means it was getting, on a monthly perspective, unique visitors, it was well over 100,000 visitors per month. And one of the other videos, I haven't drafted it yet or anything, but I think, for the month of December, we were making $1,000 a day, which sounds crazy to say out loud, but we were making $1,000 a day. Now, sure, we made some reinvestments, so I've done the math somewhere else, but we ended up spending on content, $1,200, and on the link building portion, over the span of the project, I think we spent, maybe $5,000 or something, $5,000 to $6,000. However, right, that was over the span of like 8 months. So, you got to keep that in mind. Additionally, we were reinvesting the profits, right? This was a project that we were working on. We were happy to invest money anyway, but the site's making money. You could afford to reinvest it. So the profits were still maintained and that sort of thing. Average price per item, I don't know. The thing is people buy other stuff on Amazon. So the idea that you can, it's hard to say. It was probably $50, if I had to guess. But like I said, people would buy the one item that was reviewed on the site or on the page, and then they'd buy like 10 other things, right? So average price per item is like under $100. Lance says, once you have the site up and running and accepted to Amazon, do you target buyers keywords or do you keep the 50-50? Keep the 50-50. For this particular project, we didn't do that. We were quite aggressive and it was 80% affiliate post. Steve, what's up? Good to have you on. Is that a dog as your avatar? That's cool. What kind of dog? And then the average length for the article was about 1,000 words. However, the post that was making the majority of the revenue was like 8,000 words. Almost everything else was about 1,000 words. Bynum says, in the keyword golden ratio, do the keywords have to be in the title? Or can it be H1, H2, and rank as if it was in the title? So it does have to be in the title. Couple corrections on your question. You should only have one H1 tag on your page. It should be your title. Your title generally is going to be the H1 tag, and everything else should be H2 or below. Okay. So, but your real question is around the keyword golden ratio. It should be in the title. Bonnie, yeah, this stream will be posted immediately after. So feel free to watch it later. Zihad, how do you choose the product, the price, reviews? I think, it hasn't published yet, but I talk about how to choose a product. Usually try and find some premium priced, some middle priced, and some economy priced products. Not everyone wants to buy an expensive whatever. And then I try to make sure that they have like 4 to 5 star reviews in general. Feel free to do whatever you want, though. There's no right answer on that. Barry says, how long did it take for you to start making some money off the site, and how much was the first earnings? That I don't remember. The site was around for a couple years before I joined up, but I think probably the very first couple bucks were probably in the first couple months. And then the first earnings were probably, under $20 in the first couple months. So yeah, it's hard to make any conclusions based on that question. So Barry, if you have follow-ups, I bet you have follow-ups, let me know. And Steve says it's a rescue dog. It's a mutt. Cool. Yeah. We just get rescues. My dog is dreaming down there. Georgie, she's sniffing in her sleep down there. Okay. Any other questions out there? Cool. And it's good. These are great questions to have. I am continuing to log additional questions that I get to shoot videos on it. So the tricky part with the live streams, I love to go back and forth, get the real questions that people are asking. Like I said, a lot of times if I'm doing a live stream, I'm figuring out I already know what we did in this case, but when people are asking questions about it, then if I can go back to my notes, develop the idea more. So when I talk about this in the future, I know the questions that you asked here, so I could place that in the content. So again, just tomorrow's the live stream on the internet marketing blog that I started. And basically it's there's a lot of iterating over and over again. So I know when I first got started, it was hard to do that. Steven, what's up? Okay. The question is, do you use something like Easy Azon or how do you handle the layout? So I don't use Easy Azon. That is a plugin to help place affiliate links. They have some calls to action and stuff like that. Basically, I'm a minimalist when it comes to like plugins and tools and stuff like that. So I typically don't use that stuff. On this particular site, we were using a fairly standard theme, and it was, I think it was a Thrive theme, right? So Rob already had that set up. I'm not a huge fan of Thrive, but it's it's a clean looking theme. I don't remember what specific theme from Thrive, but it was a clean looking theme. We weren't doing anything fancy. We used it for some tables, right? So Rob would do some tables and that sort of thing. But the tool that you use doesn't matter too much. I usually just use a site stripe. I don't pay too much attention. And Steven says, you lost a job similar to what I had. Oh, that sucks, man. Yeah, well, I'm at this point, I'm glad that I lost it. But yeah, it was definitely surprising. I guess you're doing IT project management of some sort, or you were. It's a weird market out there too, especially where I'm at. So, any other questions on the topics today? And I do see we have quite a few people. If you found this helpful, it would be amazing if you click the thumbs up, the like button. It helps people find this video. So it would be really cool if you did that. And if I answered your question or you found me somewhat helpful and potentially not, maybe not annoying, or if I'm annoying, you can, leave a comment below. Hopefully I'm not. But if you let me know, I'm always interested in improving what I'm doing. I hope it was helpful. And what I'm going to do now, there's a couple playlists that'll be super helpful for doing the stuff that I talked about and videos. So under each point, I'm probably going to paste a link down there, and it'll take me just a minute to find that stuff because it's a little tricky. All right. Yeah, like I said, any other questions? And again, just a reminder, I do the Friday Q&A out there on whatever questions you want to ask, basically. So Friday Q&A is out there, and same time, same place. I encourage you to set a reminder so that you're able to attend, you don't forget. Additionally, I'll just point out a couple other things. I've been working on a few playlists, and I think people really like the niche site teardowns. So definitely check those out. There's many hours. There's one playlist where the videos are like, oh, I don't know. They're very long. They're like 40 minutes. And then there's some others that are much shorter. And I see a bunch of people are joining. So I did take a niche site from 10,000 a month to 32,000 in about 100 days. So if you're just joining up now, I encourage you to rewind the video, and then I talk through the points. And if you have questions, you're watching the replay or something, if you have questions, leave a comment. I'm actually scheduling time in my day to go and answer questions now. So turns out there's a lot of comments out there, and I appreciate it. And I am a believer in sticking to like goals, right? I don't have my notebook next to me, but I'm a believer of, one of my focuses for today was to create a content schedule. And it's tempting to go and answer comments because like there's a lot of comments out there, but I usually find that if I allow a couple little bad things to happen, like it takes a couple days for me to get back to comments, or maybe there's comments from months ago and I'm going to have to go back now and realize that, oh, I didn't answer this person's question from a long time ago. Little bad things happen. But I am focusing on, bigger things. So I accept that and I accept the responsibility. But if you do have questions, ask. You should, I hope, get faster responses than in the past. So, all right, cool. I don't see any new questions coming in, but I know there is sometimes a bit of a delay. So I'm going to snag one of these playlists that I was describing, and I'm going to paste it in the description so that people can check those out. The first one I'm going to do is the keyword golden ratio. So I put that playlist there. And the other one I'm going to have to, it's not a playlist, it's actually a video. So again, the big things are the RPM, the research paper method. The other is the keyword golden ratio. And the last part is around white hat outreach. And overall, none of it was complicated, but it did require us to ignore several things. When we brainstormed the things that we could do to increase earnings, we had about 10 ideas. We threw out 7 of them. We had 7 other good ideas that probably could have helped, but instead we poured all of our energy, all of our intention and resources into these 3, and we, far exceeded any investment that we made into it. We invested, I think, around 10,000 from each of us, which of course it was actually just a reinvestment of the profits. So no actual money out of pocket. All right, that is it. Thanks everyone for attending. Again, if you found this helpful, enjoyable, please click the like button. If you're not subscribed, I encourage you to take a look at some of the other videos. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I publish 5 times a week, often live streams, and yeah, it'd be great to have you on. Thanks everybody. We'll see you on tomorrow and on Friday too. Thanks.